Oh, the recording's in progress. We're going to ask you really dumb questions.
Yeah.
I love it.
Welcome.
Yeah. So, hello and welcome to another episode of the Millionaire Insiders Show, where we bring other successful entrepreneurs and business owners to learn more about their story, their journey, their struggles, and what has really helped them to generate over $1 million in terms of revenue in their business. I'm your host, Ankita, and I have my husband and my business partner, John, with me. And today I'm very excited because we have not one, but two special guests, Ryan and Joseph.
And they're not millionaires. They're like fucking multiple millionaires.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because they are the masterminds behind the Monthly Millionaire brand, which basically they are the experts in creating new money, which we are going to learn more about that because we love money. Okay. So they're the experts in creating more new money, and they're also the winners of the 2 Comma Club X, which means that they somehow crack code of generating $1 million a month in terms of revenue. We will learn more about their story, their journey. So let's welcome Ryan and Joseph.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, we're super excited to share our story with you and answer any crazy question that you might throw at us.
Awesome.
Well, we love stories.
Let's say, what would 15 to 20-year-old Ryan and Joseph would look like? How are you guys? What you guys are doing? How you guys are spending time? What is your mindset at that point of time? Ryan, I would like to start with you first.
Very different Ryan than the Ryan who sits here today. But no, I mean, in reality, when I first got going in all of this, the one thing that I'm really thankful that I understood was relationships through influence through relationships. And I think this is actually kind of an area that, anytime I go out and I talk to groups of people, especially young people, younger people, and although I consider myself very young, but when I'm talking to the 18-year-old me, I say, your ability to create relationships and develop influence with those relationships that you create is literally pivotal to your future. The problem is nowadays is everybody thinks it's all about quantity. So they think, well, I need 100,000 followers on TikTok. I need 50,000 followers, 600,000 followers. And the funny thing is people are always very unimpressed when they go to our profiles, my profile especially. They're like, you have like 2,000 followers. And and I think this is a point that I want to drive home, because everybody's right now competing in this space of, I need as many followers as I can, when in reality, if they just pause for a second and said, stop, let me create influence with the ones that I do have. So 18-year-old Ryan, this was done by mistake. It wasn't done intentionally. Okay. But what I was doing, and I didn't know it at the time, is I was actually creating influence with a very small amount of people who, fast forward years, would actually, those relationships would in turn be worth tens of millions of dollars, not $1 million, tens of millions of dollars, that I didn't know at the time. And so I think my biggest thing that I always try to convey to people is, stop focusing on the count. Start focusing on the quality of the ones that you already have sitting in front of you, and get away from I gotta make money today. I'm not saying don't make money today, but what I'm saying is your real values are going to be made years from now. And that's a big difference. And so 18-year-old Ryan was working on that, but he didn't know he was working on that.
My 18-year-old version was, I was playing volleyball on the beach. My only concern in life was, how do I get enough money to fill my gas tank up so that I can go to the beach, play volleyball, and repeat that process. I wasn't thinking long-term. I wasn't thinking about starting a business or any of that kind of stuff, but I always had the desire to make millions of dollars. So I wasn't pursuing that. And that's the thing that I think a lot of people are in similar. They have goals, they have dreams, they have visions, but unfortunately, they get sidetracked by things that are fun. They get sidetracked by things that provide a temporal satisfaction and excitement and adventure. And because of that, they never put the steps into place to actually accomplish the dream that they have. So at 18, I was just a beach bum.
He was a good-looking beach bum, though, okay? If you've seen the movie Top Gun, he was Maverick and Goose when they were playing on that volleyball court that day. I mean, he was shredded. Don't sell yourself short, Joe.
Did you guys know each other back then?
No. That's actually, I think, what is the most fun part is how Joe and I met. Joe and I actually met because he crashed a wedding. Joe had...
Don't tell that story.
What's that mean? What's that mean? He crashed a wedding
here in America. It's not proper etiquette to go to a wedding that you're not invited to.
It's also not proper etiquette to buy your wife from the market.
Exactly. Go to any wedding, have food and get out, and no one will recognize you.
Yeah, so I think there was a movie called Wedding Crashers, and I think that was the goal of the plot of that. In our case, my case in particular, I had just started a job working at a church, and the pastor of the church asked me what I was doing. I think it was like that evening, 4 hours. And I actually don't have plans other than to go home and a meal with my wife and kids. And he goes, "No, you're coming to a wedding with me." And I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to a wedding with you? And he's like, "Yeah, I'm officiating a wedding and I want you to come along." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know that that's a very smart thing for me to do. One, I don't know these people. They don't know me. They didn't invite me. And there's no way in the world my wife is going to show up to a wedding uninvited and be that woman." I think Ryan actually had an invitation.
I did have an invite to the wedding. I was actually supposed to be there, but I think that was the really cool thing about it. And that's probably the secondary thing that, Joe and I talk a lot to people about, which is never discount opportunities in your life. There's going to be these really weird opportunities that are going to come up in your life, and you need to say yes to those opportunities. In fact, Joe got on to me one day because I was like, "Man, I don't think I'm going to do this thing." And Joe's like, "Let me tell you something. Say yes to these opportunities because you don't know. And if you say no to it, they may never ask you for that to do something special again." So especially when it came to that wedding, I was thankful Joe came to that night because I'm sure it was uncomfortable to go to a wedding that you're not invited to for both him and his wife. But Joe and I met that night. And, I was already very successful in business beforehand. Joe was as well. We were millionaires before we showed up to that wedding. But I'll tell you what came out of that wedding was that, Joe and I met each other. We hit it off. We started talking everything, funnels and sales and websites and businesses. And man, we were just like, whoa, I cannot believe we just met each other at this wedding. And now we're hanging out.
We finished each other's sentences.
Yeah, it didn't get weird though, because we had our wives there. But no, I mean, we really had a great time. And from that point on, Joe and I got invited to just some wild opportunities from what happened that night and the relationships that were made that night, all because he crashed a wedding. And some of those relationships that we made and opportunities that we got to take advantage of because he said yes to an uncomfortable situation, literally got us some of these plaques that are behind me. These are $10 million awards. If you've never seen them, it means you've earned over $10 million in a single business. And, that's how we accomplish what we've accomplished is through opportunity. So that's really the second thing that I would say to everybody is don't discount opportunities, and you want to be in the right place at the right time. And that's why, again, that circle of influence that I talk about all the time, that influence that I had got me the invite to that wedding. The influence that Joe had got him a partial invite to that wedding. And and yet it was that influence that completely changed the trajectory of our lives. I mean, I could tell you, but it'd make people mad how wildly blessed we are. And we lack for nothing. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way. I don't say that bragging. I say that because that's the kind of blessing that can await. That's the kind of blessing that I believe everybody who's watching this has the capability of having in life. But there are some steps that you have to follow to get there. I don't believe it just happens by chance. I think even if you're doing it and you don't know you're doing it, you're still doing some of these success principles that are going to get you there.
I don't know if it's me or something, but it's like you guys look similar.
Yeah, that's what everyone thinks, that we're brothers. So
yeah.
So we're brothers
We are
from
not
another
brothers. We are not brothers.
We're brothers from another mother.
Yeah.
Yes, that good. That's perfect.
I think that's the fun thing though, is when, and again, I don't recommend this for everybody, that everybody works with a business partner. But if you are working with a business partner, or you're considering working with a business partner, you've got to find somebody that you jive with, because it can be miserable to work with somebody that that's a bad relationship. One of the coolest things was Joe and I both have amazing wives, amazing families, kids. I've got 4 kids. Joe's got 3 kids. He's got more than 3. He's like an enormous family. But I think that's actually one of the coolest parts about this, is that our families have gotten to see this journey. One more thing that I think is really, really important, and I have no hesitation in saying this, is that our families got to see us do it and do it right. A lot of times money can mess people up because they don't have a central root and they're not rooted. Joe and I, our faith in Jesus and our faith in Christ is he's our center point. And so everything that we do it for him. And so we keep the kingdom first, and our family sees that. And I do believe we have been very blessed because of that, because our family always saw us do what was right. It wasn't always what was convenient, what was easy, but of our business and in all of our business dealings, we've always maintained integrity, and we've always done what we knew was right. And I believe that's always kept us in right standing. And I believe we've always been blessed because of that. And I loved it because our kids were able to witness that. And now our kids are starting business journeys, right? But they're doing it the right way, not the wrong way. And unfortunately, there's a lot of wrong teaching that goes out because it's all about money. And money was actually never a central focus for either Joe or I. Didn't mean that we didn't want to be blessed, but it was never a central focus. We wanted to serve the kingdom. We wanted to keep our life that was dedicated to advancing the kingdom and the work that we do. And we've been able to do just that. And our family's been able to watch us do that. And I think it's been amazing that we're not just leaving a return on investment. Everybody's always excited about ROI, right? We're excited. What gets Joe and Ryan excited is EROI. That's eternal reward on investment. And that's, what are you doing that's actually going to carry well beyond this realm here.
But so you believe essentially, like, after this type of death and this type of reality that we're kind of existing in, where our body dies and our soul and our spirit is kind of consciously still existing in some other dimensional realm, and there's, there could be a God there that's like, hey, you guys did good, or there could be a devil there that's like, you guys didn't do good.
Yeah, I grew up forced to go to church, and my parents made sure we were there every Sunday, every Wednesday. Anything that happened at the church, we were there. And to be honest with you, it was just something that I did, right? It was cool to hang out with my friends and things like that. And then when I was 13, actually 12, my dad and mother brought all of us kids into the living room, and they set us down and they said, hey, your mother has been diagnosed with cancer. And I remember I didn't really know what that meant, but it seemed like it was pretty serious because we were having this family meeting about it. And I remember them telling us, but it's going to be okay because we're going to pray, and everything's going to be okay. We're just going to pray over her. About 12 months later, my mother passed away. And so as a young kid, I was very confused because, I grew up in church. My parents said, we're going to pray and everything's going to be okay. But my mother is no longer with me at that age. And so as a result of that, I became really upset with the concept of God, faith, and any of those type of things, but it didn't add up. And I said, God is not if God is real, God is not fair, because my mom was a great person. It's not fair that I don't get to have my mom around. All these other people get to have their mom around. Or God must not be powerful, because we prayed to him and my mother still died. So, and I went down this whole thing. But at the end of the day, I won't belabor this, but at the end of the day, I remember I was in a very bad position in my life. I'd been playing volleyball, my body ached, and I would go to some doctors and they said that nothing was wrong with me. In the back of my mind, I was like, oh my goodness, all those girls that I had sex with, someone gave me AIDS or someone gave me this disease. And as a result of this, I'm dying. And that's what I've really felt and thought inside. And I remember praying to God one night. I said, God, I don't know if you're real, but if you'll prove yourself to me, I'll do anything that you ask me to do. And long story short, through undeniable circumstances in my life, at being a critic, being someone who did not want to believe that there was a God because of what happened with my mother, God proved himself to me in an undeniable manner. And I started all in with Jesus and reading the Bible and seeing what the Bible had to say, and whatever that said, I followed that, and my life has been incredible as a result of that. It hasn't always been easy, but it's been incredible.
And by the way, that has everything to do with our success. And so that's why we have no qualms getting into it. In fact, we get into that all the time, which is what's your root? Joe and I have been doing this for a long time. I know I look like I'm 17. Give me that credit. But we've been doing this for a long time. And I've seen a lot of millionaires come and go. I've seen a lot of people get shiny little awards, and I've seen their money dissipate. Oftentimes, because they were never rooted. It was fun. It was exciting. And we talked to a lot of younger people who are in that boat. And I know life is awesome and it's fun and it's exciting and you can have, all the fun in the world you want to have. And I'm not saying there isn't fun, but when it's not rooted in anything, when you're not advancing anything, when you're not living for any kind of an EROI, as I said, that eternal reward on investment, to have anything outside of like a quick flash in the pan success is going to be really, really challenging. And even if you get it, you're never really going to be that happy with it. There's always going to be something that feels like it's fallen short. It's like, oh, when I make $1 million, I'll be, oh, well, now I need to make 3 million. Now I need to make 5 million. Now I need to make 10 million. Well, I'm still not happy. Now I need to make 50 million. That's why you see these people who make, $1 billion and they commit suicide. It's because they're not rooted in anything. And so, money alone will not solve any problem.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. 100 fucking percent. It for sure.
I mean, many people actually believe in that thought, like, hey, if I make this much money, I'll be happy. Or if I make this much money, I'll be buying a house, I'll be buying a car, and that will make me happy, right? But then they don't. I mean, if your mindset is not right and the foundation is not built properly, then it doesn't matter how much money you make, you're gonna still be broke from here. And then will actually, that's what it will be. And it will actually never be enough for you, and you'll never be happy with the money that you're earning or with the money that you're generating.
It also doesn't matter having fun. It seems like that past a kid is a very simple concept that, yes, any idiot could just fucking have fun. Like that's not so hard to do. So it's not
correct.
Not a huge accomplishment. Like, yeah, we're having fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's oftentimes why we mentor people. Like we've got a Facebook group. Half the time, everybody wants what the next tip, trick, technique. How do I get a bigger TikTok? How do I get a bigger Instagram? How do I run ads? Do I need an irresistible offer? Is my irresistible offer good enough? And so often Joe and I have to go all the way back to the beginning with them. And it's because, and you kind of touched on this, it's because the soil's bad. If the soil's bad, it doesn't really matter what we give you. I could give you the best tip in the world. But if the soil can't harvest and can't produce a tree, the roots for a tree, it's really not going to matter anyway. And so many times Joe and I bring it back to the basics. And this is why we talk about these things. So I know you may not have thought it was like, well, that went a different direction than we thought it would go. But this is what Joe and I talk about on a daily basis, because this is reality. This is where all the people that we talk to that even have their 2 Comma Club award because they've done it, they finally made their $1 million, we'll never get to 10 million. We'll never get to 25 million, 50 million, 75, 100 million. And it's because I can teach nearly anybody to go make $1 million. Big difference between making $1 million, 10 million, 25, 50, 75, and $100 million and beyond. It's a huge difference. There's a big character difference that anybody can hustle hard enough to make $1 million. If you hustle hard enough, you can make $1 million. There's a huge character difference between those ladders, though, those stepping stones. And that's where Joe and I often mentor people.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you can have the best system, the best strategies, the best tricks and everything in front of you. But yet, if you don't have the right mindset to accept it first and then also believe in it and actually do the things and follow through the steps, then it doesn't matter. I mean, you are still not going to be successful and you're still going to fail because you didn't, first of all, build the habit, build the foundation.
Right.
Like you said, the soil is bad. So it's not going to help you harvest a good tree.
Everyone wants to go from tip, trick, and what's the next fad, right? And the reality is that in business, if you set the proper foundation, any business can be successful, right? If you have the right foundation. But what happens when something changes in the world? You know, when COVID happened and the whole world shut down, you know, we made millions and millions of dollars. Everybody else was scrambling. Well, why? Well, at the end of the day, it always is going to come back to your foundation. And if you build it on fads, what happens when you can't have this? You can't be in-person sales, or you can't do in-person events. You can't do all the ways and techniques that you were doing it. Well, it always comes down to in business. It always comes down to your network, the people that you have influence with. And so we love to teach people of, hey, today your goal is to start getting your message out there, attracting a tribe, building your audience, increasing your level of influence. And if you will create that community can become a movement, and you'll never be broke another day in your life, because you can do anything regardless of what's happening in the world around you if you've got the influence.
100%. And it's your own little cults, your own little churches. Maybe not look at it, but you can see a parable based on in a church and a following of people who are like, okay, hey, we're part of this cause. We actually believe in that. And like the preacher don't go broke for sure, because every time he talks to you, you guys are like handing him money.
Yeah.
There's definitely parables with that. And I was heavily involved in church because, like I said, I prayed a prayer and I said, hey, God, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And my goal was, how do I make a difference in people's lives? How does me saying that Jesus loves you, how can I actually display that in a tangible manner? Because you probably have all seen people who are begging on the side of the street, right? They're poor, they're broke, they're crippled, whatever the situation is, life has taken a bad turn for them. And they're asking for handouts. And people will often, the religious crowd will often go by and they'll say, Jesus loves you, praying for you, and they'll walk on. But what does that actually do for that person in their mind, right? It doesn't do anything. And they feel like, man, yeah, he really loves me. Look at me. And so when we generate revenue, money, and finances, we can actually help people in those situations. You know, in poor countries, we can build wells, we can build communities, we can put houses up, we can sponsor children who don't have anything, we can provide for their educations, we can provide places of hope for people. And then when you say, hey, you know what, Jesus loves you, you're demonstrating that love in a real tangible way.
And to touch on your point on, you know, following, people follow. And then this is where you have to start looking at, how am I influencing the people around me? People who make no money, are they influenced by me? Well, I don't know how much of a move that's going to be able to create. Are people who make a little bit of money listening to me? Am I creating influence in that? Or do I literally have the ears and attention and eyes of millionaires or people who are billionaires? And when I first started, I had the attention of people who made a little bit of money. And then I started continuing to develop my character and make sure, again, going back to that, my soil was good. And then all of a sudden I found myself having the influence over people who were millionaires. And then I found myself having influence over people who were tens of millionaires, sometimes hundreds of millionaires. And then I started getting invited to parties with billionaires. And these weren't like parties like, woo, let's get drunk kind of parties. These were like, how do we change the world parties? And when you start to have influence over people at that level, that goes back to what I was talking about in the beginning of this, which is, what does your circle of influence look like? And if you are not of a character, it's like, you have to bridge this gap. If you're sitting there and you're not to this level of success, do some self-analysis. Am I of the character that a billionaire would listen to me? If you're not, then how do you expect you to be where you want to go? You've got this goal, but you're not of a character, and I'm talking in the general use sense, you're not of a character that somebody with $100 million would say, you know what? I'm going to invest $1 million with you. I believe, I like what you're saying, and I like who you are as a person. Well, if you don't have that because you're not of the character of that, you're going to get passed over on those deals. And those kind of deals, by the way, are out there every single day, all day long. So if you find yourself not getting the deals, if you find yourself falling short from where you want to be financially right now with your success, have enough sense to say, hey, step back for a second. Let me do some self-analysis. If I'm a billionaire, would I follow me? Would I listen to me? And if you can't genuinely say that, there's something missing there. There's probably a gap between where you're at and where you need to be. And in that case, you got to get your soil right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can totally relate to that. Be the person that you want to become. You want to be a millionaire, then start acting like one. You want to be speaker, then start speaking. You want to be the leader, then start leading. I mean, those are the things that's actually going to get you there, but you have to act like the person that you really want to become. What's your future self? And you got to analyze that. If you are not there, you want to be here, and you are here, and you are not acting like the person that you would when you are here. So then there's a gap, and then you need to work on that to start acting like the person that you want to become, so that you influence other people on that level, and that's how you expand your influence and your network.
Authenticity is so important, and there's nothing wrong with, a lot of times people are like, well, I'm not going to act in a certain way that I'm not, because then I'm not being authentic. But the reality is, authenticity is just being you. You've got to be you, and you're striving, you're bettering yourself. It's just like getting a haircut, right?
Exactly.
You get that haircut so that you present yourself better. And if you don't have the influence that you want to have yet, then you just have to keep bettering yourself and working, and just be ahead of the people that you are influencing. And the more knowledge and the more you help other people, the more influence that you're going to have. So if you want to increase your revenue, you want to increase your influence, it all begins with pouring into your audience, but doing it authentically. I don't have to be you, right? In fact, if I try to be like you, I could never get your audience.
No.
Even if I had that cool hat on, and even if I, I could never do that. They would smell me out in a second. But if I am just me, at my best, and you're you at your best, we can change the world.
Is meaningless if we change the world, because at some point it boils down to, I think according to how I was told it boils down to Satan and his little other demons are here, and they're like torturing everybody while like the government's like, get the mark of the beast. And then at some point, like they're killing all the Christians and the Christians are dying. And then God either comes and he gets those Christians or he doesn't. Like at some point he comes and he's like, no, these are my guys. You're going to have to, like, they're coming rapturing, like they're going to heaven. And then
there you go.
The whole world's exploded basically.
Yeah.
Or like, we don't know if it's exploded or not. Right.
I think the real sense is, and again, don't get me wrong, because I'm all about success. And, we've talked a lot about that today, I'm all about success. I'm all about, you're going to see me with the stuff, right? I've got 100%. The boats, I've got the cars that people dream of having. I've got all that, but I'm just going to tell you that this world's coming to an end, and it is. And all that stuff, it is meaningless. It ain't going with me anywhere. But there is something after this. And what we do on this earth, it does matter, because there is EROI. There is an eternal reward of investment. What we do can literally make such an impact that if we can help other people find salvation, change the world, get more people that they help, and all of a sudden turns into 100, turns into thousands, turns into tens of thousands. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you're like, wow, I helped 1 million people make a real difference. And not just a difference in this world, a difference far after this world is over. And that is very real. Whether somebody believes it or not, they will soon find out that is reality. And I hope for their sake that they did make some right moves in that area, that eternity looks real good for them. And so for Joe and I, that's our central focus. That's what we do every day. When Joe and Ryan make money, we don't just make money to make money. We make money to make a difference. And that's what we're all about. And really, we want to find people who are all about that too, who really want to make a difference. If there's people out there that want to make a difference, that's what we care about. And those are the people we want to talk to. And those are the people we want to mentor. And those are the people that we want to help along the way, ladder up so they can keep reaching more people.
And that just comes down to the core, right? It's like, okay, hey, your core, your soil, right? Being true to yourself and your foundation and what you mean. And then being authentic, like actually, you said that we can be if we're the best, we can actually change the world. But even if we're not the best, I mean, we're actually never going to be the best. It's mathematically possible to be the best. But I mean, that doesn't really matter as long as we're authentic, because
that's right.
There's people that you can reach and that you can change. And the best you version is going to reach more people and make a bigger difference and impact than your average version of yourself or your mediocre version, right? Yep. And so everyone has to look at that for themselves, is how do I be the best that I possibly can? How do I keep getting better? And whatever your purpose is in life, how do I fulfill that purpose?
Let's say that if you talk about success, you both have actually talked about the success a lot. So let's say there was a blueprint for success, and then if you follow this, and then you can basically become a millionaire, you can win this award or 2 awards or 2,x award. So what would be some of those checklists?
We have a lot of awards. Yeah, I think we're up 11. As a combined, I think like $46 million in awards or something like that. I lost track. But
more are on the way that aren't accounted for.
Yeah.
That's good, actually. That's a good.
To your point, yes, they're definitely a framework. In fact, Joe and I famously, probably, I don't know, 2 years ago, we actually made a book. It's called the Monthly Millionaire Business Playbook. And basically what we did is we took, what did we do that worked? What was the framework? And we didn't pre-write the framework. Okay. So there's a big difference between the influencers that you see or people who are like, hey, here's how to do my stuff. They wrote it. Okay. Hear me out. They wrote it first and then hoped it worked. Joe and I built it, put it to work, figured out what did work, and then we wrote it. So that makes a big, big difference, because half of the stuff that people are trying to put into play right now is theory. They didn't actually do it. They weren't actually in the trenches. They heard it somewhere, sounded really good. They, in order to avoid copyright infringement, put it into their own words, used ChatGPT to make it, and now they created their framework. We didn't do that. And so, yeah, we actually made that book, and believe it or not, we sold that book for $50,000. And so everyone's like, hey, do you think I could sell my book for $19.99? Or, well, I don't know. We sold it for $50,000. So because of the value that's inside that book, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. And do you have a following right now that would buy your book for $50,000? You may not today, but you could easily tomorrow. And that's the framework. That's why we tell people.
Are we talking about one book though? Are we
One
talking
book.
about just like one copy of the book is like fucking 50K?
One book, $50,000
Did you-
bucks.
Was there any bonuses? Like, was there anything else included in the offer? Is
What
it
more
just
bonus do
only
you
the-
need?
I'm just asking, like, like, I don't want to call you guys marketers. I don't need
Look at
any
it
of
like
it.
this. The value of anything is determined by what it will do for somebody. And so
100%.
if you have a
100%.
book that will create $20 worth of value for somebody, that's worth $20, right? If that's what it will do for them. But if somebody could change their entire life and have a formula to skip all the stupid things that people are going to go after and all the different things they're going to put into play, and they could just straight put the foundation the right way and build it out, and they could generate money without all of those. I ended up losing that money because I didn't plan for this and I didn't set that up right. So at the end of the day, if you can change somebody's life and the value of your book will give them a much higher reward, then it's worth every penny of it. If I guaranteed you $1 million right now, if you buy my book for $100,000 and you will make $1 million in the next 12 months profit from that book, would it be worth $100,000 to you?
Most likely. For me,
Most likely,
personally,
of course
yes.
you would. That's a
Yeah,
10-time
for sure.
return on your investment, right?
Yeah.
Even if it was $500,000 and you were guaranteed
5-time
without
return.
any question and 100% legitimate that you would make $1 million, you doubled your investment, and you have the ability to continue doing that on and on and on because of what's in that framework. And that's where people go wrong when they're selling things, is they're like, well, this person sells it for this, so I'm going to price it like them, or this. No. What value can you actually bring and price it according to the value of what it's actually worth? So people say, well, how do I learn the framework? Well, guess what? We're not even selling that framework right now. We actually have a group, like a free mentorship group at monthlymillionaire.com, where people can come in and we teach them through the framework.
Yeah,
It
no
doesn't cost
charge.
much money.
Yeah, our big goal is, again, Joe and I have been really, really blessed. And so money has, in a large sense, kind of become a side thing, right? Like we're in a different phase of life now, right? And so now really our goal at this point is helping as many people make an actual impact as we can. So that's where our central focus is right now, which is why we started that group.
How do you actually help other business owners and entrepreneurs? How do you actually help them develop the right mindset for success?
We actually walk them through our entire framework. So the entire framework that's literally created companies that make dollars in 15 months from $0 with 0 followers, 0 start, no business from scratch. We teach those principles to them at no cost. We give them that entire framework. We literally hand them the framework for that. And then obviously there are businesses who are like, hey, great, I love it. Can we partner up? Can we do something together? And in those situations, we do have options for those people, that there are paid options. Obviously, we are for profit. We are capitalists. But for the vast majority of people, thousands and thousands of people, we have just given our stuff away. That's our central focus. There will always be the few businesses want to take it to another level, and where we have those options for them.
At the end of the day, with influence, you serve people, you serve them well, and you'll never have a want in life. So if you help people get what they want, they'll always ensure that you have what you need, and they'll gladly purchase things from you. They'll invest additionally to go deeper, to have one-on-one time with you. And so that's how we structured our thing. We give first, and then we allow everything else to fall into place.
But the first funnel that you have ever built, did you make $1 million from that first funnel?
I
No,
did.
this is-
Joe, I think you did too, right?
The first funnel I built did not make $1 million.
Okay.
Because it was horrific. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just thought I was one funnel away and it would be my first funnel. I didn't realize that there was other things that had to happen. So I kind of experimented a little bit. And then, very quickly, it wasn't the first, but within the first 5 funnels, I hit on a funnel that made $1 million. With every single person, I think, when they begin something, they are sidetracked by if they don't immediately make $1 million or they don't immediately make 100,000 or whatever that number is. And the reality is, if you will stick to something, you'll be consistent and you'll apply, you'll learn from other people who have wisdom, right? So you don't make the mistakes that they made. Why repeat mistakes of others? Why not learn from the wisdom of others? So if you will follow a guide, you'll follow a mentor, someone to help you, and you'll follow those steps and processes, you will be successful if you're consistent over time.
And I want to add a disclaimer. The only reason why I did $1 million on my first funnel, I did a lot more than $1 million on my first funnel, was just because I had a very large head start. I was already successful in business. And that's actually the benefit of the funnel, is I already had a lot of success in business. The funnel just amplified my existing success. And so it was really, really successful. But usually a lot of people start with the funnel. There's nothing wrong with that. So they may do a couple funnels and it not, they're not a overnight millionaire just because they, they built a funnel.
Yeah, you can have the best funnel in the world, but if you don't have people, you don't have traffic, you don't have the ideal audience, you don't have people coming to it, eyeballs on it, you'll make no money whatsoever. And so, like Ryan's saying, hey, if you've got an audience, right, you can always have a successful funnel.
Because if you have the right audience, you don't even need the funnel. You can just say, hey, somebody give me some money.
Very true.
For this. Here's the ideal and the concept, and they'll just be like, okay, hey.
And I think that's probably the big misconception about funnels. The funnel is not your success. The funnel amplifies what you're already doing or what you're getting ready to do. It does a very good job. It's very efficient. It's a very efficient manner. But people jump into funnels thinking, oh man, the funnel's going to change. In fact, I just got off of a business consultation Joe and I did an hour ago. They were like, man, we signed up for a funnel for another business. And that's actually like weird. Like it's kind of complicated. I thought like this is all like really, really easy. Because it's not just the funnel. The funnel is just it's a transport vehicle. And so as you said, you can have wild success outside of a funnel. But if you do have a good product, a good following, good influence, whether it's product, service, knowledge, whatever it is, affiliate, the funnel is very, very helpful, especially a good one.
Sure. I mean, the funnel is kind of helps you to automate the process. They believe and they feel, I need a funnel first. I need to build a funnel, right? Hey, do you have people who is interested to buy your offer? Do you have people, like, are you talking to people? Are you getting interest from people like who is actually ready to pay you money? If not, then why the fuck you are spending your time building funnel? First, go look for those people who actually will pay you. And then when you have lots of people, then okay, fine.
Yeah. I mean, Joe and I, one of our businesses that we launched, I think that business made like $350,000 and we didn't even have an email address. Like there was certainly no funnel. And it wasn't because we didn't know how to do funnels. We were funnel experts. But we didn't build a funnel for that. It's like, nah, it's only 300 grand. It's like, you don't need a funnel for 300 grand. And that's kind of my point is well said. Very, very well said from you there. You hit the nail on the head. The funnel is not your saving grace. All it is once you have a good product, once you got a good following, you can then put that into play. It's going to alleviate some time. It's going to help you. It's going to work for you, right? Like you're going to put this thing to work. I would absolutely not start with a funnel.
Okay. So to wrap it up, let us know what's next on your journey.
Yeah, I think the next thing for us is really helping consumers, not businesses, but the mom, the single mom, the person who is really worried about what's going on in the world around them, the economy. They're in this grind, the 9 to 5, and there's just not enough money left at the end of the month. Helping them realize that, hey, your options are not quit your job and start a business, but how can you start building influence, building an audience, and kind of taking them by the hand to become influential people that will either give them a promotion at work or it will give them the ability on the side doing what they're already doing to generate more money and revenue so they can escape that grind.
Yeah, that's probably the toughest thing for me is, reaching these levels of success. You become really, really if you're not careful, you become really, really disconnected with the struggles of people around you. And because life just looks so good. And you're like, oh, what's the big deal? It's like, eggs are $11 a carton. Who cares? It's like private school costs 50 grand, 60 grand a year. Who cares? You start getting into that kind of mindset and then you look around and you're like, yeah, but for the vast majority, 99% of people, they're good people and they're struggling. They're hurting. They can hardly pay their electric bill. You know what I mean? Like $11 eggs, for a cart is like, they won't be getting eggs that week. Well, that's insane. And there's a lot of great people with great hearts. I say they have good soil. They're good people. If a person can be good, they're good people. They've got good soil, and they want to do more, but they don't know how, because this stuff isn't taught in school. And so for Joe and I, our passion point is, how do we help all these people who have a mission, who have a purpose? They know they're called to a higher level. They don't necessarily know what it looks like, and they definitely don't know how to get there. And Joe and I have been there. We've both sat there. And so now that's our big mission in life now, is how do we help these people who don't really consider themselves business owners? They don't consider themselves entrepreneurs. How do we get them out of that stuck position in life? Joe and I are just beyond committed to that cause.
Basically, they can go to monthlymillionaire.com, and the link will somewhere the link will be here. So they can go to that link and then they can join your group.
Yep. Go to monthlymillionaire.com. Gets you into our group. And we want to talk to you. We want to hear from you. We don't care what level you're at. If you're making $100 million, amazing. You're going to get value out of it. If you're like, I'm not even a business owner, I'm literally just a mom, right? Trying to raise her two kids. Cool.
Right.
That group's for you. So yeah, we want everybody in there. So monthlymillionaire.com is the place to go. Completely free. No hooks, no gimmicks. It's free. We want you in the group.
Awesome, guys. Awesome, Ryan and Joseph. I really enjoyed our session, and I hope that we'll be in touch, and I wish you all the success.
Absolutely.
I love it.
guys.
Hey,
It was a
you guys be blessed. We appreciate you guys as always. And thank you all for having us on. We really do appreciate it.
It's been great, man.